What happened when a coworker tried to make you do 5 days of work in one day? When I first started out as a pharmacist, jobs weren't easy to come by in my city. I managed to piece together a full-time schedule by splitting my hours between two friends who owned separate pharmacies. One was downtown, the other was in the suburb where I lived. To avoid confusion, they used a simple system. If I was scheduled at one store, there'd be a big X by my name at the other. It wasn't complicated, at least not to me. At the suburban store, though, I had a coworker I'll call D. For some reason, she just couldn't wrap her head around the idea that an X by my name meant I was still working, just not there. She would call my cell phone over and over, trying to get me to cover her shifts, even though I was already busy downtown. Back then, every call cost me money, so I started pulling the battery out of my phone as soon as I got to work. That way, I could do my job without endless interruptions. Dee didn't like that one bit, and she made it clear she thought I was ignoring her. Things were tense between us from then on. Eventually, the suburban pharmacy grew its nursing home business, and I was able to move there full-time. But I still had a good relationship with the downtown store, and they kept me on as a backup in case of emergencies. Around that time, Dee was promoted to assistant manager. With the new title, she suddenly acted like she was in charge of me. Then came the week that really set everything in motion. The daughter of the downtown pharmacist was getting married, and I was invited to all the events. The suburban pharmacist was invited too, which meant I got scheduled downtown on the Thursday before the wedding. My name had a clear X on the suburb schedule, so there was no reason for confusion. That same week, the suburban pharmacy was also switching over to new computer software. Normally, nursing home prescriptions were prepared in batches, labels printed 5 days ahead, bubble packs filled during the week, then billing finalized on Thursday for Friday delivery. But Dee decided she didn't want to follow that system. Instead, she wanted everything processed in one single day. My technician was understandably stressed, so I suggested she start prepping the common drug cards in advance. Things like multivitamins, aspirin, or blood pressure medications. They didn't need patient information yet, but it would save time later. Dee overheard and immediately shut the idea down, saying the younger generation just didn't know how to handle hard work. I was taken aback, because at that store, I was actually the youngest person there, and she clearly meant me. I glanced at the schedule again. Sure enough, the big X was by my name, which meant I wasn't even going to be there for the chaos she was planning. Dee must have assumed otherwise, but I didn't feel any need to correct her. Thursday arrived, and right around 12:30, my cell phone started buzzing non-stop. It was locked in the safe with my purse, since I never got proper lunch breaks as the only pharmacist on duty. After a few minutes, I calmly took the battery out and got back to work. Later that night, when I got home, my answering machine was filled with furious messages. Here's what had happened. The locum pharmacist who worked that morning hadn't been told to prepare anything, so when Dee arrived for her shift, she was staring at over 500 prescription cards that still needed to be made. She had no choice but to stay and finish it all herself. The next day, she confronted me, still upset. "You said you were working. I heard you talking about the wedding party," she insisted. I reminded her that I was working, just not at her store. The X on the schedule made that perfectly clear. That's when I also discovered that she had been listening in on my private phone calls from a certain spot in the pharmacy whenever I was on break. After that, I made sure to take all my breaks in my car, away from any chance of eavesdropping. In the end, the situation taught me a valuable lesson. Dee had tried to shift an impossible workload onto me, but because I wasn't scheduled there, it all fell back on her. She ended up doing exactly what she thought she'd forced onto me. Meanwhile, I was exactly where I was supposed to be, doing my job without issue. Sometimes, the simplest truth is right there in front of people. In this case, it was just a big X on the schedule, and ignoring it turned out to be a very long day for Dee, and a very satisfying one for me.